Hi, this is Russell Stannard from teachertrainingvideos.com. Today we're going to look at Moodle. I'm going to give you 5 of my top tips when using Moodle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of actual Moodle sites that I've created so that you can see some of the things actually working, and then I'm going to show you how to do them. Really hope you find this video useful. Should really give you some good ideas about how to make a Moodle site look much more professional. If you like the video, please like it. If you can share it, that's even better. And if you've got any questions about Moodle, then please leave them in the comments section and I will do my best to answer them. Let's get straight into it. So let me start by quickly showing you a Moodle site that I've created. This one I've created is about the flipped classroom. It's basically a course that just teaches teachers how to flip their classes and to create flipped classroom content. Now if we look at this course, I just want to highlight a few things, and then afterwards I'm going to actually teach you how to do them. One thing that people often ask me is, well Russell, how do you create these buttons at the top of the screen? So for example, you're on the opening part of the course and you click here and it will open up a new page and it will take you to where there's some sort of discussions taking place, and then you can click on the back button here and jump back again. So a lot of teachers ask me, Russell, how did you do that? How do you actually make the navigation work like that? Another common question that people ask me is about this system, which is kind of called the grid system. I'm going to show you this as well. So for example, with this particular course, you've got an introduction here at the top, where of course you've got a little video afterwards, and we'll be looking at that as well. And then we've got this kind of introduction, and if I, for example, click on any of the units and then I click on it, we go into the content, and the content is underneath, and again we've got these buttons that allow us to jump back in and out. So a lot of people are interested in this grid system, so I'm going to point that out to you as well. Now another thing I want to talk about, and this is really big in online courses, and that's teacher presence. When you run a course, it's very easy to be going through the course as a student and not even really knowing who the teacher is. So you've really got to do some key things to make sure that you are in the course. And there are certain ways that I do this. For example, notice that I always have this intro video at the beginning of the course. And that actually is an instructional video that shows them how to navigate through the system, where all the content is, where all the assignments are, etc. And that's really important. So creating an intro video at the top and normally using something like screen capture to do that. And I'm going to take you through that as well. But if you also come down onto any of the units, let's just come back into that unit that we were looking at. Notice actually I have an intro video here, but if you come into the content, again at the top is an introduction from me, and I have these various techniques of just making sure that there is teacher presence on the course. And you can see here that I do that through using the images where I introduce the course, and also where I have these videos at the top of each unit, and various ways that we could do that, of course. So I'm going to take you through those tips. There's about 5 of them in total. I will use a bare course so that you can literally see it right from the start. Let's get into it with the first tip, how to set up a grid format. Now be dead clear about the grid format. Your administrative team who set your Moodle up have to include the grid format as an option. It's not always available to you. And the other problem with Moodle is, of course, that everyone has a slightly different interface, again depending on the settings that are being created by the people who are administering your Moodle. But on my site here, if I come down to administration and then I come down to the part edit settings, so I'm actually in the course already, click on edit settings, I do have the option. Here is where I put the title. Okay, and then if I come down here, you'll notice that in these settings I do have a few options, and the first one is the format, and you've got various formats here: social format, topics, weekly format. They're all kind of similar. They allow you to create blocks, and they can work very well, and in fact you can even use any of those formats and kind of trick the system to think it's a grid format. But if you have got the grid format, that is where you click, and that allows you then to create this kind of grid way of accessing the content. Just before I move on to talk about buttons, just a couple of things there with the grid format. In the grid format, again coming down to here to course format, okay, decide how many sections you want. I'm going to have 5, so I'm going to have basically 5 grids, and make sure, sorry, that you go to the bottom and click on save and display so that everything's saved. Okay, so let's focus now on this kind of idea of being able to jump from one page to the other. And to do that, the first thing we're going to need to do is to just come down underneath here, and we'll do it here. Just going to add an activity. Okay, and the type of activity I'm going to choose for this particular case will be a page, just a simple page. Click on add, okay, and I'm just going to call this, we'll call this flip classroom page 1, and I will be adding some content in a minute, but not for now. So all I'm going to do for now is just in the content section here, I'm just going to put that in. Okay, simple as that, and then I'm going to click on save and display. In fact, save and return to course for now. That's all I need to do. So now what I've got is an option of actually linking to this so that this page opens up. And the first thing I'm going to need to do that is just to right click over that image and copy link address. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a link on the opening page that when you click on it, it will jump to here. Okay, now how do I do that? Well, I come up to the top, and the first thing I'm going to do now is click on and edit this very top section here. We've got this big section here. We can turn it into a big section. We can add content to it. But this area here, we can now create our buttons. So just to remind you, if we come back to my course, see, that's what you see here. You see the buttons, then you see the logo, and then you see my video, and that's all been added into that top area. So that's what we're going to do next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here. Remember, we've got that link. We've already got that link. We're going to give this section name we won't worry about at the moment, and we're just simply going to put a link to first page. Now we can make this more interesting by using an image, and we'll come back and look at that in a minute, but I'm just going to show you the basics. Copy that. Now what I do is I'm going to click on link, because I'm going to insert a link, and what I'm actually going to link to in this particular case is I'm going to link to another page. So I'm going to just press Control V to put in that link, and I don't want that to open in this frame. In fact, probably I do. Let's leave it like that because it actually will work better. Yeah, we're going to make it open in this frame, so it will jump to that page, and then we need a button on that page to be able to jump back. Okay, now I'm going to click on insert, and I'm just going to show you the basics of this straight away. So obviously at the moment the top of the page doesn't look very interesting. We haven't put in any kind of banner or any video, but now you can see actually at the top of the page you've got a link. Okay, as I said, it's not that interesting at the moment, but you have got a link to some content, and if I click on that, it's actually going to open up that page. Now all we need now is a link from that page back. Okay, in a minute I'm going to make this all much more interesting, but hopefully you get the basic idea. Now obviously we need a link from this page back to the home page, so we need to almost do the opposite now. I'm just going to sort of show you how you would do that. Now because I haven't actually got a button here, what I'm going to have to do is use this system to get back to the kind of home page. And what you want to do basically is copy this link here at the top. Now you can't actually see it, so I'm going to pull the screen down a bit just so to show you where I'm talking about. I'm going to copy this link now, okay, because this is the home page, so I'm going to copy that. Just going to move that back up again and make that a little bit, yeah, just so now what we're going to do is come down, and on that page that we created, we're just going to edit that page by clicking on here, and we can edit the settings, and we're going to create a link the opposite way. So we're going to come down into the content here. Let's imagine that this is the actual content, okay, and I'm going to call it home page, okay, just very simple. Then copy that, and then I'm going to add the link by clicking here, pasting in that link. And again, what I want to do is open in the same window and frame, because basically we want it to feel like a website. So if we now click on insert and then come down and make sure we click on save and display this time, because what we want to see is it going to work? So can we click now on that page and jump back to the home page? And the answer is yes, we can. Suddenly we've got this kind of way of interacting. Now what we could do instead of simply just putting in a simple link here is we could add an image which could be a button and then make that clickable, and I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. Now the first thing we need to get some buttons. We're either going to make buttons, which I'll be coming back to in a minute, or we are going to find some buttons. If you write buttons graphics into Google, I'm sure probably lots of other search terms that you could use. Click on images, you're going to get a load of buttons that you could probably make use of. If you click on tools and then you click on usage rights, then you could use, for example, images that are made for reuse, so you're allowed to use them freely, and therefore you've got access now to lots of buttons. You could download Best thing would probably be to make your own buttons, but let me show you then how you would then add a button onto the screen. So let's come over to the site, and what we're going to do now is add a button. Okay, so at the moment all we got is a link. So what I'm going to do is simply here, I'm going to just come on, and this time I'm going to have a link to a button. In fact, let me remind you one thing you will need to do before you do that, apologies, is make sure that you've actually got the link to the page you want to link to. So come down here again, and you're going to want to copy link address. Okay, come back up again, come to this editing section at the top of the screen, and we've got this link to a page, but what we're going to do is have a button instead. Okay, I'm not too worried about how it looks at the moment, I'm just trying to show you the basics. So I'm going to add an image, and I am going to upload an image, and in fact I think I've got some recent buttons that I've been playing around with. Look, I've got one here, so I'm actually just going to add that button. Okay, and then I clicked on select this file, okay, and overwrite, great, and then insert. Now one thing about that button is it's very big, but I can, let me just make the screen bigger so you can clearly see it. Sorry, right here. If I click on that, if I double click on that, I think I can, I might have to select it. I should be able to, yeah, resize it. All right, so I'm going to make the button a bit smaller. Okay, so let's make a nice small button. All right, so let's just imagine that I'm not, obviously you would have 3 or 4 buttons atop of the screen. Now all I need to do to that button though is add a link. So I'm going to, while it's selected, I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to paste in the link to the actual page. Remember, I've just copied the link address of the page that I want it to take me to. Click on update, okay, then click here and save changes. Now be interesting to see if that works. So obviously I'm sorry this doesn't all look good. I'm going to tidy it all up in a little bit minute, but we know that we've already got a button here that goes straight through to another page. But if we click on this button, which looks graphically a bit more interesting, that also does the same thing. Bang, we come to another page. So we can actually start to have buttons at the top of the page that then go to different pages. And of course we would add another button on this page to jump back to the page that we want to, back to the home page. Okay, what I've done is I've just tidied this up a little bit. Okay, so now what we've got is we've got like a banner here at the top, then we've got 2 buttons. You might want to write underneath what those buttons do, or have it actually written on. I'm just trying to show you some ideas here. So I'm trying to, and then what I would also want to do here is have some kind of introductory video. So one thing is we need to create a banner at the top, and maybe have some text, and then underneath it, yeah, so we're probably going to have some introductory text, then we have a couple of buttons, introductory text, and then a video. And I'm going to show you how I do all this. Now I actually use just one technology to do all this, and that's Snagit. I use Snagit to make video content, and I also use Snagit to make my banners. And I'm going to just show you this technology because it's so useful, and just sort of show you a couple of the things it's going to do. So first of all, let's sort of start with the idea of doing a banner. And I've just made that banner really quickly. So what I can do is I'm going to go on to Snagit, okay, and you can see here I made that banner, and I'm going to click on new. So I'm going to create a new banner, and I'm going to show you how I can create banners and how I can create videos using Snagit, which we can then put into Moodle. So when I'm working in the production of the content, I'm often using Moodle plus Snagit, or Moodle plus Camtasia, or Moodle plus some kind of screen capture technology, and you'll see why in a minute. Let's just start with a couple of the things that we can do. So the easiest way to do this is I'm simply going to click on File, I'm going to click on New, so we're going to make a new image, okay, and it's going to ask me what kind of size I want that image to be, and I'm doing a banner, so I'm probably going to want it something like about 600 pixels wide and maybe about 150 pixels. So I'm going to just click on that. So it's going to, now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just have a black background. So I'm going to click on up on here. I'm going to click on a button that fills this. I'm going to choose black, and I'm just going to paint that in. Now what I want to do is I want to bring a picture in. So what I can do is I can open up some pictures. So I'm going to click on open, and I'm going to grab a picture from my computer. Let's see if I can get something really easy to work with. So if I just come down to here just in terms of saving time, I've got some different pictures of me that are fairly small. Okay, so we'll use one of these because it's going to be quicker. So let's click on that one now. All right, so we can click on open. That picture comes in. Now what we can do is just click back here onto this one. I'm going to drag this picture on into the system. You're going to see it's going to make it a lot bigger. But what I can do now is I'm going to drag that picture down to the right size, move it into place, and then I'm going to pull it out there. And suddenly I'm better do it this way a little bit as well. So now I've got my picture, and then what I'm going to do is click on text. I'm going to mark on the screen here, and I'm going to write flipped classroom. And that's it. I've created a kind of banner. Now I've done that really quickly. Just wanted to show you how I made that banner that you can see there. Okay, that's exactly how I made it. And you can see that it's really simple to make a banner, save it, and then obviously put that into your screen. Now what I tend to do is actually have a banner on every single page of my course. So if we jump back to the course, so at the moment obviously we've only got a banner on this page here. So what I would actually do in this case is I'd also, on any pages I'm creating, I would also add the banner at the top there as well. So every page that I would go to on my course would have a banner. Now luckily we've already done a home button, so we can click back again. Okay, you can see how powerful this is almost immediately. In fact, you know, you could even build a whole course just from the front page without even bothering with the grid alone, because you could have, you know, that could be page 1, page 2, or unit 1, unit 2, unit 3. You could do it like that. You can see how powerful this is as a method. Now I'm going to get to some of my top secrets. Now one of the things that I do is I always have an intro video showing someone how to use the site, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So I always have a video that takes them through the site. Okay, while I do this example, I need to turn the webcam off. I'm going to open up Snagit, and I'm going to show you a couple of lovely things that we can do. We're going to click on screen capture. And what we're going to do is we're going to imagine that we're making a video that shows the users how to use the website that we've produced. So the very first thing I normally have on the screen when the students open up, and you can see here an example, is that they can watch a video where I quickly introduce the course to them and have a little chat with them, etc. So I'm going to make that video for you, and I'm going to make that video using Snagit, which is normally the way that I do it. So I'm going to got Snagit here on the screen. So what I do is I'm going to mark the area around the course, so that, because I'm going to demo this course to my students so that when they come on straight away they understand. And I'm going to start with me on the screen, as you can see here, and I can do that with Snagit. I can first of all start with me, and then I can jump over to the actual screen that I want to talk about. So I'm going to make a video here with me first. So I click on this button here. Hi, welcome to the Flipped Classroom course. My name's Russell Stannard. I'm your tutor on this course, and what I'm going to do to start with is I'm going to take you through the course so you completely understand the navigation and can understand where all the buttons are, etc. So let's get started. I'm just going to pause that button now, and I'm going to click on here and I'm going to jump over. So I'm going to carry on the video. So you've got here at the top all the different buttons, and if you click on any of these buttons it will take you to specific pages. This is where you're going to find the general discussion, for example, and if you click on that, all the discussion questions are below. When you want to come back to the main content, just click here and that will bring you back onto the main content. Now the actual content for each of the units is below, so if we just scroll down you'll see here all of the units. All of the units kind of work in the same way. This course is all about flipping your classes, and it shows you how to flip your classes and also gives you some theory behind the flipped classroom. If you click on any of the courses or units, sorry, you'll come through. It always starts with an introduction video. If you click, you will come through to the main content. Now the content is always organized in the same way. You can always click to go back to the home page from here. You can always move to the next unit from here, or you can always go to the unit before from here. There's always an introductory video at the top to play, and then there are specific sections. First of all, Russell introduces the unit. Secondly, there's always some theory around the flipped classroom, and then after that you'll come down to the reading section. There's normally only one article to read, and then finally there's a section called food for thought. Now at the end of each unit there's also a task to do. All of the units work the same way. If we click through to the next unit, you will see Okay, I won't do any more. You get the idea that I can make these videos. Look how easy that. Look at the quality of the video as well.
Hi, welcome to the Flipped Classroom course. My name's Russell Stannard.
Okay, so it starts with me on the screen capture, and then it jumps over to me actually showing
on that all the
users
discussion
exactly how
below
to use the
when
site.
you want to come back to the main.
And that's a great video to put on the opening page. Now all I can do now is just simply save that. So I'm going to click over here. It's just slightly outside of your screen, but I'm just going to click on Save As. Okay, here, File, Save As. I'm going to save that video onto my screen. So I'm going to call this Opening Video Screen Capture. Okay, and I'm going to save that onto my desktop. Okay, and that's now been saved. Now all I would need to do is to upload that video into my Moodle course. Okay, now that we're not using Snagit, I can bring myself back onto the screen. You can see why I had to turn the webcam off, because I was obviously using the webcam to do the video. Now all I need to do is to push that video into my course. So I'm going to click on this button here, okay? And what I would normally do is obviously I would add some text first. So I'm likely to have some text here before the video, just kind of introducing the course and giving some information, okay? And then at some point underneath, I'm going to add the video in. Now to add a video, I'm going to click on this button here, Insert Moodle Media, and then we're going to click on Upload Sound Video, and we're going to upload from our computer. And you know, the great thing about using Snagit is that the videos that you create are immediately available to you. So just going to click on that there, okay, and then click on Open, and I'm going to click on upload this file. So now all I'm waiting for is that video to be uploaded into the screen. There's the video. I'm going to insert it into the page. Don't worry about that. That's only because it's in editing view. If I click here and then I click on Save Changes, we've now got a course that's, I know it's not looking very good because I'm doing everything in a rush. I'm not using quality graphics, but you can see the basic idea. We've got a lovely banner at the top. Well, not lovely, but we've got a banner at the top. We've got some buttons that's going to take us to the content, and we've got this introductory video on the screen which we can click on.
Hi, welcome to the Flipped Classroom course. My name's...
Now, that introductory video is really important as well, because it's to do with teacher presence. It's to do with making sure, yeah, look, I'm the teacher, I'm on the course, I'm going to be the one who's taking you through this course. And that's one of the reasons why I always have videos at the beginning of every unit. So we've looked at how to create buttons. We've looked at how to create buttons to jump back from a unit to come back to the home page. We've looked at adding a banner to the top of the screen. We've looked at even bringing a video in onto the screen and how to use that. I've given you lots of tips here of the sorts of things that I do to try to make my courses as professional as possible. I've also suggested that you might want to use the grid view. In the future I will do some videos about the grid view. I really hope you like that video. If you do, please as always like it, and please share it with other teachers, and please, if you've got any comments or any questions about Moodle, I will do my best to answer them, and thank you very much. If you're looking for any more free content, please come to teachertrainingvideos.com. If you go to the top, there is a special section on Moodle, and I've got various videos on different aspects of Moodle, including how to do wikis, which is quite tricky, and setting assignments and creating quizzes. If you want to follow my work, there's really two things to do. One, sign up to the newsletter. That way you'll be updated with all the webinars and all the online courses I run, and any blogs, posts that I've written, etc. So well worth signing up to the newsletter, and you also get all the new videos that I upload. And the other way to follow my work, especially if you want to get some of the backdated material, and there's masses of it, is to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to click on the bell. That way you'll be updated when all the new videos are uploaded onto YouTube. Finally, if you are looking to either ask me to come do a presentation in your country, or can be in England of course as well, but wherever you want me to do a presentation or a talk, then please contact me. But also, if you're looking for some online training, I have a webinar system which is absolutely brilliant for training, especially in things like Moodle and Camtasia, where I can train you and see what you're doing on your screen, and you can see what I'm doing on my screen. I can even intervene on your screen and help you. And I run quite a lot of courses, sometimes just with individuals, sometimes with groups, training them to use things like Camtasia and Moodle and Edmodo and Google, etc. Thank you very much.